Yeah, well, they fired one person. They got real fire, like, just ready to do it all the time. They loved it.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of firing, let's talk about the Flame of Frenzy.
oh,
Ew.
Hey guys, this is Elden Dogs. My name is Brad, also known as Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all cool guy, the all-knowing, the...
Is he though?
I am all-knowing today. I have fucking done my research today.
Okay.
But what's up? Who else is here?
I'm Dylan. I am Dylan the Dung Eater, and I'm here to learn about some stuff because I have not played this game in a few weeks, and I should have been.
I am Tyler, a.k.a. Alexander Iron Fist, big old jar of fighting.
The
jar of fighting.
And
Iron Fist, the Jar of Fighting would be a much better subname.
Who has, this jar has been spending his last few weeks going to weddings and playing Hades, so I too have been removed from Elden Ring, unfortunately.
Weddings, multiple?
No, but my brother had a whole big thing. We had bachelorette weekend in Door County, and then 2 weeks later I had the wedding and family up. So I've been busy.
It's been a second since we recorded Elden Dogs. I did take a small break from Elden Ring, but recently I have gone through all of the Liurnia Lake area and Ray Lucaria twice. My favorite thing is when Carly falls asleep. I'll just get like blackout drunk on rum. And I'll play and I'll get to a boss that's not even a hard boss, and I'm way over leveled, and they just get like spanked. I'm like, just go somewhere else. But
I barely even drink when I play games anymore because I become so shitty. It's just like I got Devil May Cry 5 and I'm doing really well, and then I have like a few drinks. I've got someone over, and then I'm just like, check this shit out, and I try doing it and I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
I feel like I got one of those beer fest talents where like the drunker I get, the better I'm at Hades, which is...
Didn't you say you were like that with Halo as well?
Halo I was just naturally good at. For a first-person shooter. So
Sure.
Back in the golden days of Xbox Live, that's where I reigned supreme.
Sure.
well, don't worry if you guys haven't played Elden Ring in a while, because I played a little bit, but I have read a lot.
Okay.
And so today we're talking about Liurnia of the Lakes, the first area you really go to after Stormvale, unless you want to head... Well, there's no real like next logical spot, but...
Yeah.
You can skip going to Caelid completely. You can skip going to Weeping Peninsula completely. You have to go through Liurnia if you want to get to the end of the game. So this is like a mandatory.
Oh,
at
wait,
least,
you didn't find the boat?
That'd be fun. The DLC might be coming. We don't know. But Liurnia of the Lakes, essentially, it's this like big sunken lake. On the sides, they're like little raised, like kind of plateau areas. I don't know what you'd call that, archipelago or something, but it's the lake is sunken in the middle.
It's not even really a lake
It's
anymore.
like a swampy valley almost.
It looks like at some point there was like a geological disaster and it spilled out to the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lakes generally aren't ankle deep the whole way across. But they call it Liurnia of the Lakes. And maybe there wasn't a lake traditionally back in the day. I was trying to do some research into this. Why is it ankle deep the whole way around? If you do click the thumbstick when you're looking at the map, you can see that the Lake of Rot is directly beneath it. And
So you think it's spilling down?
maybe it's rotting some of the land. Also, some of those glintstone crystals are giant and poking up. Man, my cat is going crazy over there. But
Pickles is having fun.
Pickles is having fun. He likes to jump up as high as he can too, just like on those towers of Ray Lucaria. But those crystals poke up out of the ground, and I've read theories like maybe it's just collapsing the ground around it because there's so many things just jutting up that it's kind of...
Well, do you think as the water seeps into the earth, it becomes the Lake of Rot?
What if it... it's stagnant. I don't...
With the tainted earth?
We're going to know about this when we talk about Ronnie's quest, when we go to the Lake of Rot. I'm sure there's a really good lore reason. I don't know offhand why it's just rotting down there. But suffice it to say, there's a giant open rotting lake underneath Liurnia. And yeah, connected by a thin strip of land to Limgrave, bordered by a plateau to the north. And this is a strong tradition of sorcery. We'll talk more about Ray Lucaria in the next episode, but at the very center of Liurnia is the Ray Lucaria Academy. Looks great, looks stunning off in the distance, and kind of the focal point, but
Very intimidating.
Yeah.
More intimidating than Stormvale looked.
Very different tonally too when you get there. Stormvale looks like just very classic garrisoned, intense castle, and Liurnia looks unsettling in its like mystical, spiritual nature outline. Plus, they really don't want you in there.
Yeah.
Which is great when you do get in there. But right when you come out of Stormvale, you reach the lake-facing cliffs. You can see some NPCs out there. You see Bach the Seamster. He's just hanging out. Tyler's shaking his head because he gave him a larval tear.
I feel like it's not a direct quote, but I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis from There Will Be Blood. Like, I abandoned my boy. Like, I vegetabled my boy.
Bach in a basket. Bach in a basket.
I thought you were going to say, I drink your milkshake. And I was like, how does that apply?
Yeah.
I'll find a way to work that in.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
I'm a family man, and I had my boy Bach. I gave him to a witch.
I just wanted him to be handsome.
He's a handsome vegetable now.
He's not even that handsome. He looks like a little derpy vegetable.
And another NPC you see right there. This is the first time you're going to see Hyetta. We're going to discuss more of her stuff when we talk about the Flame of Frenzy way down the line. But I was looking into it today. She says,
I never met her.
Wow, what a shame. She shares the exact same model and like everything about her as Arena, the person outside of the castle on Weeping Peninsula.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there are some people, they can't confirm this, that because it might be a mistake in the game that Arena's body will still be sitting there dead when you see Hyetta. Some people speculate that maybe it's just something that they need to patch in where her body disappears when Hyetta appears there, like that body is taken over by something.
Oh, sure.
I never met her, but if it uses the
She's
same...
the one that eats the grapes.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Wait, that's the same model?
As Arena, yes.
Oh.
The blind girl on the
that.
side of the road, plus blindness, flame of frenzy, eating a bunch of grapes. Please eat my grapes.
I mean, there's a lot of acid reuse in this game, so I don't really think it's...
But, I mean, to have the face models 100% the same, today I watched a video which went through all of the NPC faces without masks on. Everyone that's wearing helmets and masks, there's videos where they're able to remove the armor and you can see all the different character models. And
Is that meant to be seen?
well, there are thoughts behind a lot of them because like D and his younger brother, they have extremely similar faces and hair colors, but you never see them.
Sure.
And then we'll get to it with Ray Lucaria, but Selen is shown in paintings, Selen without her, her big glintstone crown on. So
Her Burger King crown.
her Burger King, yes, that mod must exist already. The king, yeah.
Sneaking.
Well, there's the one meme of him like peeking around the tree.
Yep.
And it's like those two motherfuckers when you first walk up to the academy just ready to spam you with glintstones.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Well, there's someone who can help us with that spamming. His name is Thops, Thop, however you want to say it. He's in the Church of Irith as well. Irith right over there. He failed out of college. He asked for 10 runes, which I imagine is like, can you spare some change?
It's not even to level up past 1.
It's so low.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what he's going to do with 10 runes.
Hey, man, I just need a pack of Swishers.
Can I bum a smoke while you're here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty sad. I remember going up to him. I'm like, cool. I'm like a sorcerer. I walk up to him. I'm like, ooh, another vendor. Maybe he's got like a special spell. No.
Yeah. And
No.
you can even bring books to him. He's like, I can't really read that well. He explains some of the history of Ray Lucaria. He does say that he went to school there and they kicked him out. And he kind of, if you mention Selen to him, he explains that he has a major crush on her. She's one of the greatest sorceresses in the history of the academy. And she was wrongfully thrown out. But he says if you can find a key to the academy to let him in, and there's more to his quest we'll get to on our next episode. But so Liurnia is a big lake. And I want to discuss the whole Liurnia area as much as we can today. So we're going to skip over a few things. We have to.
It's huge. It's one of the bigger parts of the entire game anyway, because if we had to talk about even like the churches along the way and the portals and everything.
Yep.
It would just take a little bit too much time.
There's a cave right at the southern tip of the lake called Stillwater Cave. It's poison-based, lots of rot. There's a clean rot night. Millennia must have left this dude there for some reason. But there's also the purified ruins nearby. There's a hidden entrance underground. There's like so much. There's so many things that we just can't talk about it. But
Yeah.
The purified ruins, though, do have a Two Fingers heirloom, which is kind of cool. It explains that the words of the faith of the Golden Order came from the wriggle of the Two Fingers. So all of the Golden Order was someone looking at fingers, and they're like, yeah, that's definitely... I've been watching some Mormon programming lately about... yeah. Tangent. It's called Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu. It's kind of like True Detective meets. It's a true crime based in the Mormon religion, but me and Carly have been watching like Joseph Smith stuff about how he like puts his head in a hat and just like I can read golden plates now. And can you imagine just like looking at two fingers moving like this says Brad is cool. I think I don't know like, but like the faith of the Golden Order was all derived from the wriggle of the two fingers. And also I looked up wriggle. Because it's Wriggle. Do you know the difference between wriggle and wiggle?
Wriggle is like probably more of like a spasm.
Subtle. I think a wiggle, you get your body into it.
Wiggle is just left and right. Wriggle is forward as well. Like
that's what
including side to side?
Yes.
So a wriggle is a 360-degree range of motion.
It's a 3D wiggle.
Okay.
I guess.
And a wiggle is just on one plane back and forth.
And that's how all the Golden Order was written from that. That's one of those little fun lore moments. I'm like, wow.
My entire life is completely changed now.
I can read fingers, I swear to God.
I can read one finger.
Yeah.
This one?
That one.
I gave him the bird.
The one finger. Read this. Hayetta's outside of there. You can give her another grape. Give her those grapes. Cliff Bottom Catacombs are on the right side of the outside here of the lakes. And this was one of the first catacombs I had major issues with. Tons of omens in this one. You'll even drop down an area and they're just like 3 omens all trying to get around you at the same time. One cool item there, though. This is one that I still like to wear, the Nox Mirror Helm. You need to use a Stone Sword key.
I like the Nox Mirror Helm. I used that for a long time.
It's very stunning. I like the look of it.
It's cool, and it's also kind of dumb looking, which is my entire aesthetic.
Well, it's great, too, because it's one of the Eternal City's ritual implements worn by those committed to high treason because essentially the Greater Will can't read your brain if you're wearing like a tinfoil hat.
Oh, it's Magneto's helmet.
That's the kind of the thought. Like they can't see what I'm thinking if I'm wearing the mirror helm.
Sure, yeah.
And I love that. Get out of my brain, government. And also War Counselor E.G., who we see later, he has his own version of this because he wants his thoughts to himself. It's like incognito mode, I think.
Which barely works. Easy to hack.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can hack that?
Whoopsie doodles.
They can see inside your jar, dude.
Ooh, no.
Uh-oh. Yeah, just keep going. If you keep heading up there on the east side, heading north, there's a Tibia Mariner. There is a Lanedale Knight wandering around that is very difficult.
But he's important.
He's important because he drops a Dragon Cult prayer book, and I know you're a big fan of the Dragon sorceries.
Yes, I am.
I respect once I got that just to use it.
Yeah. Why this guy is carrying around this is great, but
you can completely miss this if you choose not to fight this random guy wandering around.
He's tough, too. Even if you're overpowered, this guy can take you down pretty quick.
I was feeling real big for my britches when I came across them. Mm-hmm. Like, I hadn't died in a solid minute. I'd leveled up a couple times. Mm-hmm. I was getting a little out of my body with it. Thought, like, all right, I've now reached the point where it's easy. And then he brought me back to school.
Yeah, sit down.
Took my lunch money.
Whooped your ass a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a couple times. Not too proud to admit.
The description of the incantation: long ago, Godwin the Golden defeated the dragon Fortisax and befriended his fallen foe, giving rise to the ancient dragon cult in the capital. If I ever joined a cult, it would be the dragon cult, I think.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't want to become those half dragon monsters that are definitely the people that took it too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd just be like, I just like reading about dragons. I don't want to drink your Kool-Aid. There's a painting up there, a resurrection painting, and this is also where you can find the Iron Fist Alexander's 5th location, because
I never see him there.
It's one of those weird things. If you really wanted to see every NPC event in one playthrough,
you'd have to do things a little more specifically, I'd imagine.
Very mapped out.
Yeah. Okay.
Very mapped out, because you'll have to go to here and then way over there just to make sure, because if you get to like the Black Knife Catacombs before you go do this with Ronnie or Renala, it just pushes that quest forward to the next spot. I missed most of Blythe's quest just on my first playthrough. All of us, first time I met him was in Radahn's Redmane Castle.
Yeah, I did too.
And yeah, so it's very easy to miss stuff, which is very exciting when I'm going back and reading this. When there are,
it's pretty frustrating though, because even in like terms of replayability, that's not the way to get people back in. I just think that's kind of annoying to leave, to have really missable stuff that might actually be important. I don't know. Some of those characters should be locked in a little longer.
Luckily, the missable, like, there's nothing missable on major endings, really.
Yeah.
There are quests you can completely miss, unfortunately, but like the core like major story endings, there was one that would be missable, but they patched that in and fixed that.
Is it Ronnie's quest line?
It was the flame. There might have been something with Ronnie's too, but I know I
heard about
the
that.
Flame of Frenzy had one where if you did something out of order, you couldn't get your grapes.
Well, I mean, it works for replay if you kind of know where you need to go on your second playthrough and you're just doing it for all the stuff you missed. Like, I get that aspect of it. It does create a little bit of replayability. Not that this game needs it, because you can just make a different build and enjoy the game a different way. But it gives me severe anxiety as somebody who doesn't want to miss stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm constantly like, do I want to progress further, or should I go explore these other regions and try to find people that I've already met to see if I can progress any further?
As someone who has a problem, I have a major problem with not wanting to, like, if I miss something in a game, it bothers me.
Same.
But with this, I actually find it very freeing and liberating, because there's points where I'm like, there's just no way that I will be able to search through this entire game. And instead, it feels a lot more organic, and I'm kind of just along for whatever experience I get.
I think that's where it shines. Organic's a good way of putting it. So.
I had to learn that in Bloodborne, because very quickly I knew I fucked something up with one of the NPCs.
Which one?
I think it was with a little girl and Gascoigne's daughter.
Oh, sure.
I fucked up something with her, and I knew that. Well, regardless, once you start sending people to either the infirmary or the scary guy, and you realize the scary guy is the good guy, it's like committing a lot of Bach assassinations. They'll turn into aliens, which is cool, but...
Well, the best part about that is that Bloodborne is a significantly shorter game.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to go back to that point.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Bloodborne a lot lately.
So have I. I actually was in Board Game Barrister, and I saw a Bloodborne game, and I'm like, ooh, should I? And I was like, no.
Yeah. I still can't believe we talked about all of Bloodborne in 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's too much.
Elden Dogs is a very fun thing, and we won't do this for another game for a long time.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
But it does warrant a lot of discussion. But yeah, Iron Fist Alexander, he's looking down on Jarburg. He won't go down there because he won't go back. He vowed not to return until he's like strong enough to come back home. So he just wanted to look at it, which is kind of sad. You feel for the guy. And he said the spirits inside him admonish him for his mawkishness, for his feeble sentimentality. He should just be moving on with his quest. And the spirits inside of him, because he is just fucking eating people to make himself stronger. They're like, you bitch. You ate the wrong person. They're just talking shit to you. Did you guys go to Jarburg?
I did not go to Jarburg.
I don't think I did. I mean, it's such a big area.
I think I'm going to have to start over with a new character, to be honest with you.
Well, you remember last time we recorded Elden Dogs, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm doing the strength build.
Okay.
Significantly harder, but I think more rewarding.
You think so?
I think so. But in the second playthrough, I'm not a yes man. I'm not a no man either, though.
You're a I don't know, man.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just follow your moral barometer.
No.
It won't work.
Just realize you're being tricked at any given moment.
I do love the name Jarburg, though. Like, what are we going to call the city of jars? Oh, Jarburg. We'll call it Jarburg.
So all the jars in the game are from Jarburg?
I don't think all of them are, but it is a village of jars. And there is one NPC down there called Jarbairn. They're looking for a potentate for Jarburg, which I love Elden Ring's words. It means like a monarch or a ruler. And the villager, he's like, great news. The villagers say you can take all the rare flowers you want. Jarburg has all the flowers in the game, pretty much all of them just laid out there, and they all respawn. They're like, just go pick as many as you want.
Where is Jarburg?
Now Tyler really wants to
Yeah.
know. Yeah. It's, you know that big, the Divine Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just south of there. You have to just jump down.
Oh,
You have
I
to
never
look
went
down.
Once I got to the Divine Tower, I just kind of turned around and went back
Okay.
because I didn't have the.
There's no
You're
op-
talking about the
Yeah.
upside down thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that. Did all that.
It's just south of there, and there's no road down there. You actually have to just jump off down
That
to it.
explains why I missed it.
Dialos does wind up there eventually, but yeah, the Carian Study Hall, the big flippy floppy spot.
That's probably. I'm looking for him right now.
If he's no longer in Volcano Manor, he should be down there. He's still looking for a reason to live, like a Linkin Park song. That joke's not funny anymore.
No,
though.
that joke kind of hurt.
It's no longer good.
It's fine.
Is Reason to Live one of their songs? Sounds like it could be every one of their songs.
I mean, that's the content for at least an album worth of songs by
Yeah.
Linkin Park. Yeah.
Well, Dialos, the reason for him living is jars. Yes, if we head now, we're not going to talk about the study hall. We'll save that for a Ronnie episode. But the Laskiar ruins are down in the southern part of the lake here. We're going to move kind of now west. There's a waygate. There's waygates all over this place to take you to Rea Lucaria. You still can't get inside, but they do have shortcuts everywhere. But there's an NPC, Raya, who is definitely not a snake. She is just a girl. And she has lost her necklace to a ruffian. She's very awkward.
Yeah.
She says, return it to her, and she will give you an introduction to the Volcano Manor, which everything in my brain just like flicked on, like, I want to go to Volcano Manor.
Yeah.
You're talking about the girl who got her necklace stolen by Lobster Boy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The prawn man.
The prawn man.
I like the description of the prawns. They're definitely just crayfish. Yeah, she explains also the Grand Lift of Dectus and the Ruin Strewn Precipice. She kind of guides you on how to get out of the lakes if you want to, but if you head up north to the Boil Prawn Shack, the Blackguard Big Boggart is there. He's a very cool NPC. You guys might not know a lot about him yet. He did prison time with the Dung Eater. And
Nice.
yeah, when you mention the Dung Eater later on, he's like, I don't want to talk about that guy. he shared a cell with the Dung Eater. He saw everything. And
Well, I mean, it's like he didn't even have to use the toilet. He could just poop for the dung eater.
he is a human centipede with 2 legs. Yeah, just a circular path. But
He's an Ouroboros.
yeah, Ouroboros. The Blackguard, he will let you buy Raya's necklace. You can try and fight him for it. Don't fight him. He does say though,
It's only like 1,000 runes.
I don't even think it's that much. I think it might be less, but it's inexpensive. And this guy's cool. And when you buy it, he's like, that's fine. There's something wrong with her. He says, like, her head is messed up. You should be careful if you go talk with her again.
I mean, you can tell just by looking at her too. There's something really dopey about it.
and her like posture's weird.
Yeah.
She does have a weird posture. All right, see, I didn't notice anything weird about her.
No,
so
she's definitely not a snake.
definitely not a
In
snake.
fact,
well,
you put up posters of her in your room.
Yeah.
looking at Rykart, I feel like she's probably a snake. I don't feel like you're telling the truth.
No, she just has a serpentine demeanor.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Definitely not a snake person. She's great. I do love her, but
She's very kind.
yes. And You can actually summon the Blackguard to fight the magma worm Makar at the precipice if you go up that way.
Oh, you can summon for that fight? That fight
no-
gave me a shitload of trouble.
I am so frustrated at the number of places you can summon NPCs, and I didn't know about.
Are they just fucking hiding them away?
They're just little gold summoning signs. I think it's one of those things where if you play offline, you'll notice them a million times more.
Yeah, because I missed him on my first playthrough with my spell sword, but playing the strength build, he's right to the right. Like, right as you're walking in.
Yeah.
He's just tucked off to the right before you walk through the mist. It's right there.
on.
But there's like all that blue that people leave, like, like dragging ahead. And it's like, no shit, I'm walking into mist. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah. Like weak foe ahead. It's like, thanks a lot.
You're very helpful.
Yeah. You can take it back to her, though, and then she will tell you how to get to the Volcano Manor.
She helps you a lot.
I was very excited that Patches is also at an isle in the lake here.
I've never seen Patches here.
Well, I didn't.
Patches is many places.
I didn't discover Patches until I was already up in the snowy mountains. So,
Oh, you didn't do that.
In Volcano Manor.
no, I had to go all the way back to.
Oh, till you were in the consecrated, like the Mountain of the Giants.
Yeah, I had to go all the way back to Limgrave and go find him at the beginning. So when I got that encounter that was supposed to be really hard because you're supposed to find it early in the game, like I just breezed right through it.
One slash of your
and
sword.
then killed all of his henchmen and then hurt him in like 2 hits. And then he was like, no, I'll have stuff for you next time. Just leave me alone.
He says, dude, I have the I'm sorry about before. I have a shortcut, though, and it'll get you right to the Erd Tree. Fucking end of the game. I got you. Go to the bottom of Ray Lucaria. There's an Iron Virgin down there. Let him grab you. You'll go right to the Erd Tree. Trust me. I was like, okay.
Are you talking about that thing that like...
The thing that grabs you and sends you to Volcano Manor to the depths of hell. Yes. Okay. Patches is fucking with you again. I love it. And there's a Deathbird over there. But just to the west of the Boil Prawn Shack is the Rose Church. This is a church with walls festering with scarlet rot and overgrown with blood roses, maintained by followers of the elusive Lord of Blood.
Whoa.
Which is heavy metal shit right there. This is the NPC White Mask Vari is there. This is his second location.
Is that the guy you meet right at the beginning?
Yeah. Yep. And he's part of the Lord of Blood quest line. And
Which I still haven't done.
Which I don't know about.
And that was the last location I think I found in the game. But I haven't done it offline. I don't know if you can, because Vara does give you like part of the quest is like go into the multiplayer and fight some, like invade other people.
Oh man.
It might be something else offline. Maybe they have some other versions of it.
Fucking hope so.
Probably just a series of encounters.
And inside you find a lesser sanguine noble, an elite assassin that revel in blood sorcery. The blood stuff is some weird magic. You don't see a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it reminds me very much of Bloodborne, not just because of the word blood. But yeah, it's fairly quick. You can, if you follow his quest line here, within an hour you can get to Mogwin's palace area. And it's very quick to get there. You will get smacked. There's a good leveling spot though there. But and then close to there is the Temple Quarter. For some reason, there's an ice rind hatchet from Castle Sol, which is in the northern part of the mountaintops of the Giants. Someone took that a long way, but we don't need to talk about that.
That weapon rules, by the way. Have you gone to use it?
No.
It's kind of weird because it's an axe, so you think it's like strength based, but it's dexterity based, and it's kind of awesome what it does to enemies.
Yeah,
it kind of stuns them out a little bit, and it's actually really powerful if you have enough somber smithing stones right away. Early in the game, you can really.
Can you grease it though?
Can you what?
Can you grease it?
If you use a somber smithing stone, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I'm a crafty boy, crackpot kind of guy, and I like my grease too.
Yeah.
So
I don't really use the grease that much.
And that's one of those things where if you're using a regular weapon, grease all the time. Because then you can just apply whatever grease is the weakness of the boss you're facing, which is a real advantage. Plus, you can use different Ashes of War, have real customization.
Yeah, and I feel like it gives you, like, it kind of gives me a Witcher vibe where, like, I'm oiling up before a battle. Like,
oh, yeah.
Gotta put the poisons on.
You gotta do it.
Gotta oil up.
It also gives me another level of immersion of like crafting and surviving in the world.
Yeah.
That I think just helps the gameplay overall. Like it's when you get those somber smithing stones and like I'm using Moonveil a lot.
Yeah,
like you
Moonveil's
can't.
good.
It's
Moonveil's
great.
so good.
I mean, its special attack is so OP, but having that aspect, losing that aspect of greasing your weapons and preparing for a fight, I feel like is a big portion of the game that I really enjoy.
Sure.
That is it sucks that it's taken away by these powerful weapons, but you do get a good trade-off depending on the weapon.
Yeah. Yep, but you can find that weapon over there. And then there's this area up above that I looked at forever, and I didn't know how to get up there. That's called the Royal Moon Gazing Ground. You can only get up there at the end of Ronnie's quest.
Yep.
That's
Which I was, when I got up there, I'm like, oh.
Is that what you can see on the map?
It's directly above the village of the Albinaurics. It's what you can see on the map.
I've never been up there.
It's at the end of Ronnie's quest.
Just doing a Gilbert grape all day. Just like, I want to go up there.
I tried so hard. It was like a full day.
You got so far. In the end,
It didn't even matter.
it didn't even matter, man.
No.
But below the Royal Moon Gazing Ground is the village of the Albinaurics. So let's discuss these white-faced, moon-shaped, strange little froggy men guys.
Froggy men's a good way to describe them.
What do you guys know about the Albinaurics?
I know that one was hiding in a pot in a medallion, half of one at least.
Yeah. I don't know much about them, going to be honest.
Yeah. The Albinaurics are life forms made by human hands. These are artificially created.
So they're homunculus?
Yeah, and we don't know for sure who created them. Prominent theorists would say it could be Ray Lucaria, it could be the Nox, the people down below living in like the river wells, but I definitely think it's associated with the mimic tears, the silver tears.
Well, it's got to be associated with Ronnie then, because it's right underneath.
It's associated with sorcery. I think like the theme overall for Liurnia is sorcery and the stars, the moon. Anything that's associated with sorcery and like magic will be silver. Anything associated with the Golden Order and incantations is gold. So that's just like kind of a good way to bifurcate them. If it's something silver related, you're going to assume it'll be something more moon based, something star based, something underground, because they definitely worshipped that. So I definitely think that they are from this like that clump of silver tears, larval tears, mimic tears. They're created from that strange gelatinous blob. But many believe them to be impure. Now, this wasn't right away, but once the Golden Order took hold, they're like, well, you clearly weren't made by God. You're untouched by the Erdtree's grace, and fuck you. We're going to kill you. And they're just like, we're just frog people, man. We are just fine frog people here.
Just hanging out. We're hiding in pots. Leave us alone.
Yeah, I'll stay in this pot all goddamn day. The first generation Albinaurics so there's two kinds too. We know the frog-faced, beautiful ones, and then there's the other ones. The other ones are the first generation Albinaurics. They have a human-like appearance. They look definitely more human, and their legs are flawed. They give out fairly quick. That's why if an Albinauric, like the guy in the jar, he can't walk.
So basically, it's a village of rejects.
It's a village.
You don't see the regular Albinaurics or you don't see the second gen ones up in that village ever.
No, you don't. Which is interesting. I wonder why the first generation, second generation don't really
Maybe
mingle.
it's like a convalescent home. Maybe they felt bad for them. Like, we'll give you a place to live.
And they had a village. They were doing fine. They were just kind of hanging out there. Nefeli Lou was outside of the village, and she's sitting there like, my dad did something fucking bad here, because Gideon Ofnir sent the Omen Killer and just slaughtered the whole village.
Oh yeah,
because that's what he does. The second generation Albinaurics are shorter, more frog-like creatures. Both were partially created with silver tears from Nokron and Noxtella. So it is from the silver tears. And many of them are searching for the Holly Tree for sanctuary because they've been told Millennia has a safe place for Albinaurics away from the horrible Golden Order. And some Albinaurics are searching for meaning with the Lord of Blood. It's great because it's all bloody down there, and they're no longer white. They are red from the blood seeping into their system. So if you see a red Albinauric, turn around. But yeah. So the village of the Albinaurics is there. Gideon Ofnir's a dick. He's killed all of them. You can find a crystal sword there, and the crystal sword is fashioned from pure crystal.
A strength intelligent based one, which is rare for the game.
Which made me the happiest boy in Liurnia.
You used the crystal sword for a while?
I did, because I was doing, at that point, I was still doing my spell sword, so it was mostly strength intelligence.
Yeah.
At that point, so that was a gift from.
There are not many of them.
Yeah, I think because I was talking to Steebs at work, where you used to work.
He doesn't work there anymore, does he?
No, he does not.
Okay.
But he was doing a strength intelligence build, and he had done some reading. I think there's only like 4 or 5, according to him, items in the game that scale with strength intelligence. If you don't apply that or what's the word I'm looking for? Whetstone, the one you get where you can apply greater
magic affinities and stuff on there? Or?
Yeah. Where you can change the scaling pretty much to whatever you want, essentially.
It's one of the wet blades. Could be the glintstone wet blade. The crystal sword, though, it's impossible that it was created by humans, because humans can't fashion things out of that crystal.
Right.
The inscrutable crystallians have but one clear purpose: to safeguard their crystals. One theory posits that they yearn for the return of their creator, who will carve for them new brethren. You guys have seen these probably in a few caves as bosses, just those crystal motherfuckers who slashing weapons.
Hate them.
The girl
Once you
with
break
the
their
disc.
Stance, it's fine.
Then they're easy.
Well, like if you got the wolves, they can kind of spam them. Or if you have like a mob of
The
ashes.
demi-human horde, where you have 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
that aggro is so nice.
If you are strength-based, switch over to a blunt weapon. Blunt weapons will do a lot more. The worst thing you can use is a rapier, just like a little poker. That wouldn't do good. Use a blunt weapon, and it does a lot more damage to them.
I greased up one of my swords to beat the lady who throws the discs. She's got she throws it looks like discs.
She's the Frolfing Crystallian. Yeah.
I forget what grease I put on there, but it did wonders.
Isn't rod good against magic?
I didn't have rod at the time.
It's good against scissors. Got him.
Oh,
I hate it.
Thanks to Brad's bad joke of the day. Everyone. My bad.
It's all good.
But you do find Albus hiding in a pot, like you had mentioned there.
I mean, he was just chilling.
Dude, he's like, don't hurt me, I'm scared. And you're like, I'm a good guy. He's like, oh, thank God. He gives you a medallion, and he says it's the key that will lead to the Albinaurics' salvation. It's the Holly Tree secret medallion, and he says take it to Latena. She is another Albinauric, and she will tell you what to do with it.
I think I found her.
And then if you keep going down through the village here,
Where's Lieutenant located?
just southeast of the village of the Albinaurics.
She got the big wolf with her.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
found her.
And if you go to Albus first, she's way more likely to be nice to you.
Yeah, I found Albus first.
The Omen Killer is still hanging out there in the village. You can summon Nefeli Lu to take him down.
Another thing I didn't know.
Yep. It's possible Nefeli Lu wasn't even there or could be dead by that point. It depends. It's just all the order things happen, but
I felt like he was pretty easy. I didn't need her.
He wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
I struggled when I got there the first
Really?
time. Yeah.
I mean, he's just a what is it, like he uses like the perfume?
he's
he's
got,
like the,
he's got a scary face.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's also like weak to magic. So
I also don't understand a lot about the perfume. He is a perfumer. That is one aspect of the game that I am not good with.
well, it was just like it's so daunting because I got my cracked pots, I got my grease, I got my roped pots, I got my cotton. I got so many things I'm crafting all the time.
You're
now.
like what's Gadget from
Inspector Gadget.
Goonies? What's his name?
Data?
Data. You're like Data from Goonies. Just like
How
pulling
did
up-
I know that?
Yeah.
I've never seen the Goonies.
No. Think about it this way. We've all played Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Skyrim is a perfect example. At the end of Skyrim, I had about 87 wheels of cheese. I had 1 million potions. I had all this shit that
So
I
you were
crafted
role-playing
and hoarded.
You were role playing as a Wisconsin person in Skyrim.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But I had all these resources that I hoarded for the entire game, which I've done 1 million times in 1 million different games where it's like, I'm going to save that for the real tough encounter.
Every Final Fantasy I've ever
Yeah.
played.
And then at the end of the
Don't
game,
use
I
those
have
elixirs.
And I
those
used
mega elixirs.
one
Yeah.
mega elixir. I was like, oh, that was uncomfortable. I need to save the rest of those.
Yeah.
With this game, I fully embraced using everything all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's usually a way to get more of it.
Well,
Yeah.
even with like the rune arcs, because you unlock the powers of the great runes and you use a rune arc and it stays active until you die. But I was like, I don't know when I'll need this. So I wound up with like 50 rune arcs at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, I should have been using these fuckers.
At one point after, I think I was going to Volcano Manor, I had like 33 of them, and I had used one. And I had sold one because I didn't know what it was.
You still felt guilty about using that one, though.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I died, wasted it.
But now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm going to use 7 for this encounter. If I die more than 7 times, then I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's the way I kind of manage.
Millennia took a handful of mine for sure. But yeah, so you can fight the Omen Killer. There is the Slumbering Wolf Shack. This is outside of the Lakeside Crystal Cave. You fight some crystal snails, a Bloodhound Knight, but you get to the other side, and this is where you can see the NPC Latenna. She wants you to give a birthing droplet to a giant sleeping Albinauric woman before the Hollig Tree.
That's the next thing I have to do.
Yes. Have you gotten to the consecrated snowfields yet?
I got to the point where I'm riding up, and she's like, oh, it's just up here. And she kind of pointed out where I needed to go.
Yeah.
I answered an area, and she's like, we're getting close. And I had a little dialogue.
Okay.
Well, monologue from her. I didn't say anything.
Yeah, she wants you to give a birthing droplet to her. When you meet Latenna, she says the all-hearing brute killed her other half, Gideon. Sorry, I'm a dick. Yeah. But this is a rare instance where she willingly becomes spirit ashes if you talk with Albus first.
I did talk with Albus first.
Yeah, my understanding is that becoming spirit ashes must suck. It must be like living as a ghost or in between death and life, because no one wants to do it, but she is willing to help you on your journey. So Latenna can become spirit ashes, which is interesting because she is a first generation Albinauric, which means she can't walk. So you summon her and she just shoots things with a bow, but she can't move.
Honestly, she's actually pretty good.
Yeah. And a unique thing about her, if you're fighting Albinaurics ride wolves. So if you're fighting wolves and it comes close to her, she'll jump on the wolf and then be riding an enemy wolf and shooting things and attacking the wolf.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Isn't that awesome?
Why does that exist?
Because I don't know. There must just be one person who just the job is to daydream about like ways to make things fucking cool.
That is almost too much. That is an attention to detail that feels like we're already in like quantum computing or something. It's just like, well, obviously she rides wolves.
It's like the system's so advanced it just knew that it should have her ride wolves. But yeah, I don't know another instance of a spirit ash that can ride an enemy, but
it'd be interesting if they could.
Latenna can, and then she becomes like a wolf riding archer. It's cool. That's good stuff.
Wait, if you summon her around wolves, she will permanently gain?
No, only in... She'll kill the wolf, too. She'll kill it while she's riding it. She'll shoot it to death after riding it around for a while.
I'm going to test that out later. That's cool.
Yeah. And so that's how you get Latenna the Albinauric. Just southeast of there is the Malefactor's Everjail. Adon, the Thief of Fire, is there. This is a prisoner. He stole the knowledge of the fire giants. So Prometheus is who I'm imagining here. This is the first time that you will be getting, maybe not the first time, but you're getting the Flame of the Fell God. You're getting some of the power of the fire giants through incantations, which is kind of cool.
A lot of those fire spells are hard to use.
You need to have a specific build, and I wasn't playing Magic at all my first time through, so I will just go watch videos and watch different character builds and see what they're up to. But
sure,
yeah.
You can make yourself like a walking tank that spews fire, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I gotta get back into this game.
Yeah.
At least before next episode.
It's pretty fucking cool. And I like that this guy stole the knowledge of the fire giants and pieced out, even if he was caught. There's a minor Erd tree to the west. We're going to go all the way to the west here now, west of the lake. Down south is the Roads End Catacombs. In here, there's the boss is a spirit caller snail, which I do love because if you bum rush a snail and kill it quick, it won't summon anything. If you let it breathe, it summons Crucible Knights. So that's a situation where you want to be getting on top of it fast. If you head north of there, we'll find ourselves at the Revenger's Shack.
Yep.
And this will be the ending of Edgar the Castellan. of Castle Morn.
He just goes fucking crazy. I still don't understand it, why he went crazy.
Well, his daughter died.
Well,
And I think at that point, maybe the flame of frenzy has weaseled its way into his brain, possibly.
yeah.
I didn't realize that was him when I killed him.
Me neither.
Yeah, neither did I.
I was still looking for him after I personally had killed him for a long time, an embarrassingly a long amount of time.
There's just so many names. It's hard to keep track of everything. And plus, you don't expect Castellan Edgar to be hanging out in a random shack with 5 meat dumplings and attack you.
That's true.
But it does look like he went cannibal. Maybe, which is exciting. If you beat him, you get a Banished Knight's Halberd +8 and some more grapes. Got to get those grapes if you want Hyetta to become your new maiden. North of there is the Cuckoo's Everjail. The Knights of the Cuckoo are the Rea Lucaria. Those sorcerers don't like doing their own dirty work outside of the academy, so they'll just like pay knights shitty amounts of money. They're untrained. They're allowed to do whatever they kind of want. And they have little bastard versions of spells because they're not real magicians. It's like a football player using science or something. Yeah. And the Cuckoo's Everjail is a Carian Knight, and it's a troll. What's cool about the Carian Knights, so let's contrast them. The Carian Knights and the Knights of the Cuckoo. Rea Lucaria and the Carian Royal Family. I was going to say this for the next episode, but... Renala is a member of the Carian family, and they became royalty when she became the queen of the academy. And her heart gets broken. She kind of falls apart, and they realize Renala fucking sucks. So they lock her away, and they go to war on the Carian Royal Manor, which we're going to go to here in a bit. And the Carian Royal Knights, think Kingsguard in the glory days. There's less than 20 of them. They're the most badass, well-earned, deserved knights ever. And the Knights of the Cuckoo are the biggest, like, ding-dong cuckoo boys you'll ever meet. But if you're a Carian Knight, that means look the fuck out. These guys are serious. And they like, the Carian family's cool because they're like, we love Albinaurics. We love trolls. We love everyone. We accept you all. So
They love hands.
Yeah, they love weird fucking hand creatures that hide in the ground.
Yeah. Having like Vietnam flashbacks, like, oh, I can go pick that up. There's an item right there. Nope.
Look at this item on the ground. I'm going to grab it. But Bowles is the name of this Carian Knight, and he's a troll. He's a troll wearing knight armor, which looks pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty easy to beat.
Yeah, he's not too bad, but he's just got a cool look. Just north of there, we'll find ourselves at the 4 belfries. You guys have been to the 4 belfries, I imagine, the little waygates.
Yep.
Yeah, where you need the special keys.
You need the special keys.
Yeah.
The 4 belfries are weird. They are like 4 little towers, and there's only 3 of them that transport you places.
Yeah.
And you need an imbued sword key, and they'll just send you to the most random fucking places.
Yeah.
I
haven't done all of them.
The first one that I did took me to Far Missoula, which you haven't been to, Tyler. Did you go there, Dylan?
Nope.
You haven't beaten the game yet?
No.
Okay. Far Missoula's cool, and it's insane looking. But it sends you to a place where you can't do anything.
Oh.
You kind of can just look at it.
And then go back.
It's one of those that kind of expands the map and makes you scared. Because you're like, oh, I thought this was the end of the game. And it turns out you're nowhere near it. That's the first belfry. The second belfry will take you back to the Chapel of Anticipation.
That was the first one I used.
Yep. You can fight the grafted scion that beat you before. You can go back and just cut off his legs one by one and really torture him.
I got my revenge.
Yeah.
It was very sweet.
And then, you get the Stormhawk King Ashes and everything to give to Nepheli. And the third belfry, it's denoted by night sky and ceasing. This takes you to the Nokron Eternal City. And this gets you even closer to that area in the Riverwell that's way off in the distance. And it looks like you might be able to go there, but you haven't been able to get there.
I hate that one.
It gets you closer to that.
Sure.
Yep. And the Lord of Blood is having a fucking rager up there. And you guys have not gotten to the party yet.
No.
No, but I did use that gate because I used 2 out of the 3. I didn't use the one that takes you to Far Missoula.
Yeah. Plus, there's only 3 imbued sword keys. So if you need to find all of these items to use all of them. Luckily, one of them is right there.
One of them's in one of the belfries?
Yeah. That's the 4th belfry just has a chest with the key there.
Oh, nice. So you just get kind of like a roulette. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, you don't know which one you're going to go to, though.
Yeah.
If you keep heading north, you'll find yourself at the King's Rome ruins. This is the first time that I ran into
The disappearing
sorcerers.
like
the sorcerers that just like jump around and throw glintstones at you.
I just know better, and now I just pass through it. I'm like, yep,
You're
wall
not
at
worth-
the end.
Not worth my time.
Yeah.
Not worth my time. There's a hidden floor there.
Oh, is there?
Yep, I didn't know that.
Yeah, go figure. Something else I missed.
Yeah.
Well, it's
This game is too big.
yeah. Well, and that's why it's okay to miss stuff, because there's so much that you're still having an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I had a very big moment with Ray Lucaria. I've had many moments with Ray Lucaria, but if you go through the floor there, one of the like scariest enemies in the game is down there, the Royal Revenant. It's a grotesque amalgamation of humanoid and arachnid with many, they say grafted limbs. I watched a video earlier that makes me think they're not grafted because they're all uniform and they all look like they were grown off of them. They even take the, this is Zuli the Witch's YouTube. They take the clothing off of it so you can just see what it looks like, and it is fucking nightmare fuel. And its chest is just carved out for some reason. You can't see it, but it's if you take that off, you can see inside, and the chest is just missing a lot.
What do you get for?
Well, it's extremely aggressive and quick, but it's weak to the heal spell. Classic Final Fantasy boss. You get a frozen needle is the weapon, like a nice piercing frozen weapon, and it was forged by Iji, who we're going to meet right away. The non-playable character War Counselor Iji is just north of this, before the Royal Manor. This is a troll blacksmith that once served the Carian Royals. He refers to himself as an old codger who refuses to retire his rusty hammer. This guy is great. He will sell you somber smithing stones, I think up to 5 or 4. And he's great. He's a cool guy. And he's friends with Blythe. Blythe will actually send you up here to him earlier. And you'll find out that they all are friends with Ronnie. But he says, don't go down that road. The Carian Royal Manors, don't go there. They don't want you there. You won't get through it. You're going to die.
And they also have a fierce amount of spells protecting it.
Oh, it's just booby trapped. It's like Kevin McAllister's wet dream in there.
Well, even on the ride up there, you just get assaulted by lines of spells raining down from the heavens.
I watched Devin, my roommate, play that for the first time. Because when I came across Iji, I avoided him twice. I saw a massive thing sitting quietly, and I was like, hey,
I won't.
I'm going to let you do your thing, and I'm going to go this totally different direction. And then eventually I met him and everything. But I watched Devin play that part, and he's just riding up thinking this is the way to go. And when that magic starts raining down, watching Devin's reaction was the best. He's just like, oh my God, what is that? And he's like running around. He turns around to run away, and then I guess felt like a coward, and then turned around and ran back into it. Like, no, I can do this.
And he gets whooped.
No, he made it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he rode through. It was like watching like an old school 90s action movie by Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah,
and he just like balls to the wall, just riding and dodging. It was great.
More probably like MXC, where someone accidentally manages to get to the end of the level.
That's a better analogy.
Yeah. The worst contestant wins the game. He said the Knights of the Cuckoo descended on the Carian Manor, and they just fucking got destroyed here. Don't go down that road. He knows Jaren, and he does send you to go see Radon after you meet with Ronnie, but the Carian Manor is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree.
This was one of the first places I got really scared and intimidated by.
Well, especially because those hand bosses are really those hand...
I like that you refer to them as bosses.
They're basically bosses if you get there too early. But there's so many of them, and they're all crawling around, and you kind of sneak around. For the first time, I actually felt like I needed to use the stealth option in the Carian Manor. And they drop from places too, so you're always kind of looking up. You're forced to be like, stealth. Like there's not a lot of places in this game that kind of make you want to.
I didn't stealth it because their magic works pretty well against them, and
Faith does nothing to them.
I cheesed my way through it with the lock on.
Yeah.
So once I got dropped down on, I was like, not again. And so like every time you enter a new hall, it's like you're just clicking. Like, where are they at? I know you're here.
Yeah, I was scared. I took down like one hand. I was like, this is amazing. I am the man. And then there's like we mentioned earlier, just an item on the ground. And like, okay, I'm sneaking around, looking everywhere. Like, you're not going to get me. And I pick up the item and a fucking hand comes out of the ground. That got me so bad. And they'll grab you and they'll throw you. And I mean, I couldn't find anything about what where these came from.
I still don't know. They've got to be related to the two fingers.
I've heard some people theorize that Praetor Rykard was involved in creating them. Snake Man, I don't see any reason to believe that. I don't know why their hands, why their fingers, but they don't have the regular number of fingers either. They don't.
I think
there's 7. I think they have 7 fingers.
Yeah, it's like a whole bunch.
A thumb, 2 fingers, thumb, 2 fingers, and that middle finger that'll shoot missiles out of the end. Great. But I utilized the great strategy of fucking just run past them.
Yep.
And
I don't need those runes.
Yeah, I'm just sprinting, and there are like 30 hands coming behind me.
You're being chased by a round of applause.
Yeah. Their biggest enemy is stairs too. That for some reason they don't really go upstairs that well. They're character models, so you can actually escape.
It's like cats with tin foil or aluminum foil. Like, that's the end of this one, guys. Time to crawl back in the ground, I guess. The Carian Manor. Those are called finger creepers. Hate them. You can find a hammer later on in the game that is just a giant finger, and you can use the finger. Which is pretty cool. There's a weapon on the east side of the ground level here, the Arumi, which is a whip sword. It is a sword that bends like a whip, and it sounds cooler than it is. It's really not too practical, but
it's not.
I feel like I wish the whips were better. They're so cool.
The whips are pretty good if you use them correctly.
I guess I just haven't found the right whips.
There's not a lot of whips to find either.
Well, the plain whip is, if you get that buffed up, I can...
At that point, when I found it, I had weapons that were better. So it's like, why invest in bringing this one up? I did not find the candelabra whip.
The candlestick whip is amazing. You're just shooting fire everywhere. I showed you that one where you're just like spinning it around.
That seems cool.
Yeah. But even then, it's all about using the right weapons for the right situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be a situation where a certain weapon works better than the other. And whips have their spots, I believe. But there's another weapon you can find here. So, I mean, you're going to run past all of the finger creepers, not fight a single goddamn one of them. Go up through this little like chapel area, and then you're finding more traps, little magic traps, spirits getting summoned in. They will fuck you up. If you jump down to the right spot, though, you can get what became my big weapon for my first playthrough, the Sword of Night and Flame.
That's where that fucking thing is?
That's where that is. What does it scale with again?
It scales with intelligence, I want to say. I had to respec for it. I forget.
I read on the subreddit that it's one of the best weapons you can get in the game, but I refused to look it up.
Because you wanted to find it on.
Because I was like, all right, if I know it's the best weapon in the game, then I'm not going to cheese it and go. Yeah. So I'm going to just be on the lookout for that one.
Sure.
And I was in that spot, and I did not jump down to find it because I passed through that area and didn't do a lot of exploring, hence because of the traps and the scary summons and all that. The scaries.
High intelligence build?
Oh my god.
It makes sense for the manor. Now I have to...
My playthrough would have been so much different if I would have found that weapon then.
Yeah.
Because that's before I got Moonveil.
Oh my god.
Like I don't even know what I was rocking back then.
It doesn't have high requirements. Strength and dexterity of 12, intelligence and faith of 24. So you need a fair amount of intelligence and faith.
I wouldn't have been able to wield it with the faith at that point.
I did try to take some extra notes on this weapon because it is one of the legendary armaments. There's not many of them. So this sword is the storied sword of Carian Manor. This is a treasure of the house.
Sure.
Think Game of Thrones. Certain houses like this is our... fucking what's the name of the special steel? Valyrian steel. This is our Valyrian steel sword. And astrologers who preceded the sorcerers, so the astrologers were the original like magician scientists. They established themselves in the mountaintops of the giants that nearly touched the sky, and they were just friendly with the fire giants. They were homies with them, and it's made out of glintstone and gold. What's interesting about the Knight in Flame, that's why it's intelligence and faith. It utilizes the strengths of sorceries and incantations. It can use with its Sword and Night Flame stance. If you hold L2 and hit R1 or whatever your buttons are, it uses the Comet Azure sorcery, which is one of the primeval sorceries. We'll talk more about that later, but it's one of the strongest sorceries in the game, and that's just one of the attacks this sword has. And the other one,
can I just say, talking about this game, I thought I was like not like done with this game, but I was like, I've moved on to other things. I'll play Assassin's Creed Origins or something, and now I'm just like, well, that disc is going right back into the system.
Yeah,
fine, fuck it.
Oh, I love it too. I just want to go in and learn one thing. And it's when you go in a Wikipedia hole, it's like, well, I can't properly understand the Knights of the Cuckoo unless I understand more about glintstone sorceries. And I need to know more about the primeval current if I want to know more about the glintstone sorceries. And then you start going down Lusat, and his brain is turned into glintstone, and I'm fucked. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the game is such a breath of fresh air right now because you have sequels galore and just formulaic games coming out all the time. Like, I just played through Far Cry 6, which is if you've played Far Cry 3 and you've played it already. Like, it's essentially the same game.
Yeah.
And in between Far Cry 3 and 6 is 4, 5, a DLC game about the end of the world, and you have the Primal in there too. So there's 4 games. Like, in a world where it's just the same game, rinse and repeat with a little bit better graphics or whatever, like having a game that makes you want to go back and play it just by talking about it is a nice feeling to have.
There's not many games that I think have the world building inherent in Souls games, in From Software games.
FromSoft in general, yeah.
And I don't think that their team is relatively large compared to what some of these other big companies are putting out. It is the detail work. It is the ability to have a core set of these factions, rough histories, and then you can just pluck someone like Bloodhound Knight will throw you over here, and then what's the lore implications? Someone figure it out, put something together quick, and just drop the amount of paragraphs that can be written about one sentence in an item description. It is mind-boggling.
I think more games, like if you're going to be making a game, like a AAA title, moving forward, focus on the world building, focus on the immersion. Like there's a ton of game mechanics out there across any number of genres. Like if you put it in your game, we've probably seen it at this point. Like there's not anything really groundbreaking out there at the moment. So if you can rely on world building, character building, and immersion, that's where you're really going to succeed. And I feel like Elden Ring it just found that niche and it nailed it.
I think microtransactions are the key.
I'm thinking about what you're saying, Tyler, and I've got to say, I actually think that for the most part, people are making games for the common denominator and not the other outliers. Like I don't think a lot of people want that type of shit. And we want it because we're avid people about this type of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nobody wants it, but when they get it, look what happens. Look at how much Elden Ring has sold, how many players who have never played a Souls game.
Do you think most people are actually paying attention to that? Because I actually don't think people are.
I think what's great about Elden Ring is that it, much like the cinema of Stanley Kubrick, one of my favorites, like The Shining, it's watchable from a turn your mind off. Anyone can go watch a little popcorn flick. But if you're there to read into it, to study the cinematography, to try and find deeper meanings and stuff,
right?
It's there and it's open to interpretation. In this game, people can play this that don't give a fuck about what's going on. They can just run through, fight enemies, and just have a fun, because it's a fun game.
Yeah.
But if you want to make a podcast that's 20 episodes long, you can.
And we built that world for you.
Yeah, and it's there. I will spend I was going to say I didn't spend more time talking about it, but that's not possible. I'm 150 hours into the game probably. But we're going to be talking about this a not insignificant amount of time, which is really cool because there is that much. And even at the end of our journey in over a year there would still be enough content to keep going.
Yeah, there would.
But it's one of those things where we have to choose our battles. And
Well, it's 20 episodes so far. Just wait till the DLC drops.
no, I'm ready for that. I've already kind of made a rough map for what we're up to. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so keep going up here in the Royal Manor. You fight a few dire wolves. You run into another Carian knight that is a giant troll. Fucking love him. If you want to jump down the side, now up there is the Royal Knight, but if you go left and start jumping down, you can go fight a bunch of jars.
Oh, I did that.
Yeah, find a bunch of things that way. But inside, though, is the Royal Knight Loretta, spiritual knight upon a steed, wielding a polearm, capable of casting sorceries. A lot of people like to say she's an Albinauric woman, and I don't think she is.
You don't think so?
Because you fight a spectral knight version over here. She's also at the Hollig Tree before millennia. She is the horse riding person at like near the base of the tree that you fight as a boss. And because she was loyal to the Carian Manor, she's like, I love this family, but she realizes that she wants to help the Albinaurics find their sanctuary. So she goes to the Hollig Tree to help facilitate that. It is weird to me when you can fight a spirit, like a spectral, like spiritual version of something, and also there's a living version elsewhere. I don't know how you just can I run into like 20-year-old shithead Brad who was just stoned out of his mind somewhere? Can I avoid him? But like there are two versions of Loretta. This is a prior one when she was still super loyal to Ronnie.
Sure.
They like to. She uses a shield that says there's a horrible, like a silly rumor that she was an Albinauric, and it fueled a lot of theories. But the fact when you fight her at the Hollig Tree and you slice her, her blood is red. Albinauric's blood is white. That is just conclusive to me. She's not Albinauric.
Okay.
Unless that is an oversight, but that's just I had a moment earlier when I was reading about this. I had I made a problem with this fight my first time through, where.
You made a problem with it?
I had a problem. Big Dumb Brad's carrying too many runes. And this isn't a...
Oh.
The first time, this isn't a go through a door.
The trek up to her. Well, yeah, you have to go into the middle of that pool.
And this isn't... The first time you go, there's no entering a door situation.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's this fucking giant horse knight, and I didn't want to lose my runes, so I just... All right, I'm sitting here until I win to keep my runes. I guess I could have used an item that lets me bring the runes out. I never think to do that.
Yeah.
But
I rarely use that one too. I'm always like, whoa.
I think she was my first time in the game beating a boss in my first try.
Really?
nice.
But I also had leveled up quite a bit. Like this is when I got so tired of dying all the time that
You just grinded?
I grinded for a long time.
Yeah, you take her down. This is the moon gazing grounds. I love this design. A giant circle with water, all the chairs sitting around it so they can just look down and look up into the night sky through the reflection. Super cool.
It's very dope.
This looks like a very sacred spot for the Carians. And also they have one of those little half moon like stone items, like that kind of area near the back.
Catches the shards.
Catches the shards. It's used kind of like maybe a sundial for the moon, like a moon dial. We don't know much about them, but they're always around kind of people that worship the stars. Now, we're not going to talk about Ronnie and Celivis because that's its own episode. That's a can of worms. But there is an NPC in the Carian Manor I never fucking knew about. You have to go outside, come back around, and jump back in from another area. You get into the top of the chapel where you run into from the hands, and you find Padilla, the Carian servant. And he's an old Albinauric man in charge of maintaining Celivis's human puppets. He's very interesting. So you can buy some items from him. He has some cool things like the weapons the Albinaurics use and a few items, but later on, after Celivis dies, when you come back, you hear him getting killed by the puppets on the way down. He's like, I was your friend, please. And it's great. I love it.
That's pretty cool.
This is also where you can buy the Nefeli Lu puppet from him. Or if you didn't give her the potion, you get Dolores, the sleeping arrow puppet, which is a spirit ash that uses sleeping arrows, which is very fucking cool.
Really?
She'll put enemies to sleep for you.
Fuck.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about Padilla. It blew my mind when I heard about him. Yeah. And if you go around the back a little bit further to the right, the solution to the resurrection painting, which you might have collected earlier in this area, We'll get you the scholar cap and robes for the juveniles inside of Renala's boss fight, the little scary children.
Oh, really?
Yep, you can get their robes, and there is an Everjail with the Onyx Lord in the back, which you can get a meteorite sorcery. We're not going to talk about everything in Liurnia as much as I don't want to. Yeah, turtle puzzles, fuck that. The Ray Lucaria Crystal Tunnel, they mine fucking glidstone. We get it. We don't need to go.
Yeah.
We're not going to go down into the Ainsel River Well.
No.
That's another episode. But there's like the zigzag craggy area, with the two mausoleums walking around. If you follow that to the back, past the Erd Tree, is the Black Knife Catacombs. This area has two bosses. One of them is the easy one to find. That's not the one you're looking for. The one you are looking for, it has those big, whoosh, like the big cutting blades that go down the whole length of the room.
Oh, okay.
Wait till it goes in the ground, ride it up, and jump into a room. You can ride those up.
Yep. The only reason I knew that is because someone left a little memo.
Yeah, that's one of the major advantages of online.
I would not have known that.
Yeah. But you can ride them up. I do hate this cave, but it also has those skeletons that keep coming back because someone's summoning them. Yep. You can fight the Black Knife Assassin here. You can summon D for this fight if the conditions are right. But yeah, you get the Black Knife print, which you can show to Rajir. I've never shown it to him. That dude was fucking dead for a while by the time I got here.
Yes, very dead.
Very dead, very dead. You can show it to Fia, though, and this unlocks the rest of her quest line if you want to find out more about Godwin's weird, gross corpse by the tree, which you do. You do want to go down there, but
I do want to learn.
I do want to learn.
Do you want to know more?
It's the Black Knife print from, it's like evidence that Ronnie was involved in the Night of Black Knives. Roger has a lot of dialogue if you get it to him, but that's there. You can run into, well, we're going to go back to the Bellum Church, and then this road will take us right to the Aldous Plateau. There's not much left here in Liurnia. The Bellum Church, Hyetta will be there to give her more grapes. She loves eating her grapes. I think this is the last grape you have to give her before it gets her to the capital, but the grape podcast is later on. The Frenzy Flaming Tower is around the back here.
Oh yeah, that one's fun.
Yeah, incredibly confusing.
This is Bloodborne to me. This is madness.
Very much so. Yeah, it is essentially like Sauron's eye, but if it sees you, it destroys you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool because it did remind me immediately of Bloodborne because they've got people praying around it and doing stuff to keep it going, and you have to get to the top and slay them real quick unless you want to get frenzied. And
it's a little bit like Squid Game, red light, green light.
Yeah.
It builds up and you hide, and then you have like a clear point to run forward. And there's 3 like regular rats and 1 giant rat that are possessed by the frenzied flame, and they'll fuck you up too.
Yeah, that giant rat is a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem.
But if you get to the top and kill them all, then it goes away. But until you do, this whole area, if you're out in the open, they will just keep attacking you. There is a converted fringe tower. If you go all the way further right, this is Hema's house. Hema is the justiciar of the Ray Lucarian Academy. And you need this, there's a whole weird quest to get here. You have to get Thop's dead to get the erudition gesture. But
Jesus Christ.
You bring the erudition gesture there, and you wear a glintstone crown in front of a door, and you do like the right gesture, and then it opens up. If you go inside, you can get 2 sorceries, the Cannon of Hema and the Gavel of Hema. And yeah, that's all you can do there. But if you go south from there, the Frenzied Flame Village, this is another village which has been taken over by the Frenzied Flame, which I love this shit.
I do too.
People that they are like way into the crazy theories. They've lost their minds. Like the flame is all they can see anymore.
The QAnon of the world.
If QAnon was right, though. Yeah. Yeah, the whole villagers, they know nothing but the fiery frenzy burning within them. They're not too hard to beat. Most of them are kind of just crazy people. There's a few knights in there that have gone crazy as well. But the name Shabriri, we've been hearing it a few times in reference to grapes. Shabriri's woe is a talisman you get here. A disturbing likeness of a man whose eyes have been gouged out. The corners of the mouth are upturned. They're upturned in an almost flirtatious manner.
Flirtatious.
It's like, constantly attracts enemies' aggression. They do not like you smiling at them. This is like smiling at dudes in a bar in Texas or something. I don't know. It is said that the man named Shabriri had his eyes gouged out for a punishment as punishment for the crime of slander, and with time, the blight of the flame of frenzy came to dwell in his empty sockets.
Jesus.
He did something to really piss Marika off. My understanding is he told her about the merchant caravan, and that he's like, those fuckers are bad. They're coming to America. That caravan is coming north. We need to get rid of them. Shit. Yeah. And so she locks the caravan down underneath the Capitol. You guys will learn more about this possibly, but Shabriri was in charge, responsible for a lot of shit happening that was bad. But and you actually talk to him later on. You know Yura, the guy with the crazy weird helmet, that one that goes like super long down.
Yeah.
And he warns you, hey, maybe you don't want to sacrifice your maiden.
Oh yeah.
Is that the guy in the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Yura's your buddy.
Yura shows up early on.
When you talk to him though up there, he's like,
Not for this guy, he didn't.
well,
he helps you with the fight right outside of the area you first meet Patches. He comes in.
Didn't need no help there. I was like level 85.
No, he shows up no matter what. But if you kill him soon enough,
not if you get further along
Really?
with his quest, then he'll be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
When I showed up, he was like, yo, I got Homeboy's body. And I was like, who's Homeboy? I don't know who Homeboy is. You look like a totally new character.
Yeah, because Shabriri has taken over Yura's body somehow. So
That's who that is?
That's who that is. So when
No
you
shit.
said maybe I shouldn't sacrifice my maiden, you're listening to Shabriri, and we're going to talk about that here. But interesting to note, Yura attacks right-handed. When he's taken over by Shabriri, the character knows to use his left-hand sword. Subtle. I love it. Good stuff. You'll find a note in the village. The Lord of Frenzied Flame is the note. It says, beneath Lanedell, at the very bottom, lies our Lord, the Lord of the Frenzied, the three fingers who holds us all in thrall. If you want to figure out what the Flame of Frenzy is, it tells you that's where you need to go. Up there is the Church of Inhibition. This is our last spot we're going to on this episode. The Church of Inhibition is protected by an invader called Festering Fingerprint Vike. I didn't know he was an important character. If you look at the cover, Vike is the main guy on the cover of the game.
Fucking
Really?
kidding me?
That's Vike.
I thought I already got that armor though.
You probably got it from him. You run into two Vikes. This is a situation kind of like with Loretta, where he was the closest. Vike was the closest to becoming Elden Lord. He got very fucking far. Great dude. Everyone's like, Vike was great. And then he talked to one Shabriri motherfucker, and he said, if you go up there, you're gonna have to kill your maiden. You have to sacrifice her. And the theory is Vike refused to sacrifice his maiden, his friend, or his lover, whoever she was, and he instead decided to go down to the pits of the capital to try the frenzied flame instead, and to save his maiden. Sadly, he goes crazy and kills his maiden, as Anakin Skywalker would, or whoever else. But yeah, Vike was a Knight of the Round Table. It's interesting, but his armor in this one where he invades the Festering Fingerprint. This is the Vike that. This is the one who continued on. Later on, you'll find a version of Vike from earlier in his life when he was a more noble dude, but his armor has like fingerprints on it and it looks burnt.
Ooh.
And when you do see the three fingers later on, you have to get naked before you go in there. And there's a theory that he wasn't naked enough, and that's why the frenzied flame didn't take hold in him, because it needs to have more contact with your skin.
Sure.
And regardless, that's Vike. Vike's on the cover. Vike's on the wallpapers. Vike is like the closest to being Elden Lord before you did. Kind of cool. And inside of the Church of Inhibition, you'll find special eyeball, the fingerprint grape. You'll get that. You get that from Vike. You'll get the fingerprint grape. And but inside the church, you find the finger maiden set. There's a dead maiden. You can get her armor, her outfit. And also, this is one of the options. The Lord of Blood requires you to bring maiden's blood to him. He's into weird shit, and he wants some maiden's blood. Incognito mode. I don't know what he's up to. And yeah.
What about socks? Use socks. You can use panties.
And these weren't washed? Never
it's
washed.
very important.
Yes. Okay, then.
You're in.
Yeah. I mean, north of here is the way up to the Altus Plateau. Mm-hmm. And you can also
one
go
of
to
the ways.
You can also go to the precipice. We're going to save that for the Altus Plateau episode.
Yeah.
But next episode, we're talking about Ray Lucaria. And there's a couple other areas around it that get us inside. But I saved those for that episode. This was the kind of an overview of Liurnia of the Lakes, though.
I really liked this part of the game because after I spent so much time getting my ass kicked wherever I was,
and down the street,
yep, I would go back to Limgrave to like level up and go find new stuff. And then I probably have not exhausted Limgrave, but once I got through Stormvale and then started getting further in the game, Volcano Manor and the Plateau and Caelid and all that, I would go back to Liurnia to level up. So it was like my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Like if Limgrave is my freshman year,
yeah,
I did a lot of time in Liurnia, and it sounds like I still missed a shit ton of shit.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. This was a light overview. There's a lot more we could have gone into, but there's
a lot of that stuff will pop up later in later episodes, I imagine.
And we're kind of just going for like a big overview of important lore stuff. We don't need to talk about every Bloodhound Knight that shows up somewhere.
Can we do a whole level, or can we do a whole episode on just giant lobsters?
We didn't mention that in this one, really.
Yeah, we failed to mention that shoot projectiles.
There are giant lobsters and giant crabs, and
the crabs I was used to.
The lobsters they have sniper rifles, man.
Yeah, and the range on those things is forever.
Yes. Zigzag with your horse when you're running away if you can.
Oh, I did. I watched Game of Thrones. Rickon should have zigzagged, and I learned that lesson, and I was like, I'm going to zigzag. No, they're like heat seeking. I don't know. Or they're just great aim.
All Rickon had to do was zigzag a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, how often was he running away from arrows? He wouldn't have known that. He's a dumb kid.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe Ramsey would have just had everyone shoot at that point.
But I've never had to run from an arrow, and I would zigzag.
Okay, but you're also not a child.
I also did live in Florida.
All right,
and I feel like that's how you get away from alligators.
You don't even need to zigzag. I'd go right a little lazily and then left a little lazily.
You think I'm over here?
You don't need
now I'm over
You don't
here.
need to go like this. Just like a little bit back and forth.
I would do cartwheels and backflips because we all know I'm capable of those.
And also like stutter stop.
Did he just try and backflip and break his own neck?
Then he just dies anyway. I just die anyway. It's like, oh, okay. Did the work for me. Didn't have to waste an arrow.
Yeah.
Also, just stop. Because he'll overshoot and then maybe walk backwards a little bit and then go forward. Like, keep the people guessing.
Do something.
Yeah.
That's your motto.
Keep the people guessing.
Yeah. There's also a point where you can find a giant crab that's actually a grafted scion in disguise.
That sounds awful.
Maybe he was tired of working for Godric and he's like, I'm not a crab now. I'm a crab man. We're crab people now. That's what we do. The Albinaurics are fascinating. I do like that aspect of this area, and I like the Carian Royal Manor a lot. We will be back to discuss Ronnie's quest line, and I also, near the end, would like to do an episode about just magic, sorceries, incantations, and the major quests around those. Because there's quests that just go fucking everywhere and stuff. Sellen's quest could go in a few spots, but we're going to save those for kind of a later point. But Elden Dogs exists because of people like you. Thanks for listening. If you have questions or thoughts about this episode or anything at all, if you think we got anything wrong, please tell me. I would like to know, and I would be interested in having a debate. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Hair the Dogcast, on Twitter at Hot Dogcast, and you can email us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. If you want access to a bunch of episodes early, our after show, exclusive podcasts, patreon.com/hairthedogcast. This episode has been available for over a month to our Patreon before you're hearing this, and many more Elden Dogs episodes will be available way ahead of time if you want more of these early. Check it out. Executive producers, special thanks to Ryan Christianick, Tyler Keller, Kip, not a lobster, the Grafted Scion, Brian Ward, and Katie Bone. Our next Elden Dogs episode is about Ray Lucaria. I'm very excited.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next time.